Hey, welcome to another daily money clip. Today, I'm going to be talking about the 5 different ways to invest in real estate. Hey, what's going on? This is Jerry over at Wealth Dynamics, and I'm coming to you today with another daily money clip. And I want to talk to you about the 5 different ways to invest in real estate. Now, I invest in real estate myself. I've looked at each of these, and this is the 5 categories or groups that I've come up with as far as different ways to invest in real estate. Before we talk about them, we need to remember our purpose. Okay, our purpose is to create passive income that exceeds our savings, expenses, and taxes. So the income needs to be passive, and it actually needs to bring in enough actual income to cover those items, right? So the first way to invest in real estate, I'm going to start with least passive to most passive. The least passive and the first way to start with real estate is by buying and owner occupying residential real estate. I buy a duplex, I buy a fourplex, I buy a triplex, and I live in a unit and I manage the unit, and I am the landlord. I am the person that's going to field all of the complaints, calls. Even if I hire a property manager, they're going to know I'm the guy that owns the place. And so if the property management company is not performing, they're going to contact me. To me, that's not passive. And in most cases, it's also not profitable. And so I don't invest that way. The second way that we can invest in real estate is hiring out management. Okay, I search for the property, I look for it, I underwrite it, I go through the lending process, I go through everything in an attempt to get the right property. Then I find the manager, then I get all of the tenants and all the contracts and everything in place. That could potentially be profitable, but to me, that's still not passive. It's more passive than me living in a unit, but it's a lot less passive than some of the other ways we're going to talk about. Now, the third one is called turnkey real estate. Now, with turnkey real estate, I buy a property remotely somewhere in a good area. It could be, the Midwest United States, the Southwest United States, somewhere maybe, in the Northeast, certain areas that I would look at that there's going to be a property that already has tenants. It already has a manager, right? And all I have to do is buy it, and it's all turnkey, meaning that the property is going to go about and it's going to cash flow without any of my involvement. I just have to oversee the financials. I'll get statements once or twice a month. And then once in a while, we might have to do some, vacancy turnover that the management company would actually handle for me. Okay. In that instance, that's a little more passive. And the reason I like that better is because I don't have to do anything other than find the right property. Okay. So that's the third way. The fourth way is investing through a fund. Okay, I can invest through a fund as an equity partner, and I'm going to get a percentage of the dividend or profit from that fund. Okay, this is definitely more passive than the first 3 options. The downside with this is typically I'm going to have to be an accredited investor. And then in addition to that, the yields on these funds usually aren't great. I'm going to get a 4 to 6% preferred dividend that might get paid out monthly, quarterly, or annually. And then as refinances happen, as a property appreciates, I might get some money at that point. And then usually it's going to be about a 10-year term. I might see 5 years on the low side, but that's a passive way to go about it, but it doesn't produce the cash flow I want. Remember, I want passive income that exceeds my savings, expenses, and taxes. And so therefore, a 4 to 6% yield is not as good as something where I might be able to get an 8, a 10, or a 12% yield, even though the 4 to 6% yield could promise, appreciation or refinances on the back end. Okay, now the final one, and this is what I do, private lending. Okay, private lending on real estate. It means that I have money that I'm going to loan to a real estate investor who's going to do, 1, 2, or 3, right? They're going to do something in those realms where they're doing the buy a property, live in it. Usually I'm not going to lend on that, right? They might buy a fourplex or something of that nature, not live in it, but they just need capital. They could be buying mobile homes, storage facilities, et cetera. And I'm lending to whatever the deal is. Now, in this scenario, this is the most passive income because it doesn't require my time whatsoever. Okay. I get paid every month. Okay. Because I'm the bank, I get paid interest. So they have to pay me my interest payments. There's no involvement with me from an ownership standpoint, from a management standpoint. If they have vacancies, it doesn't affect my cash flow at all because they've got to pay me regardless. Now, I like this because this gives me truly passive income. It's the most scalable. Okay, the wealthiest corporations in this country, by and large, are banks. Banks don't own real estate. Banks lend money to people who buy real estate. So I like this option. This is my favorite one. The final one that I'm going to throw in here, and this is a little bit more of a wild card, and this is probably the least passive. This is alternative real estate, doing mobile home parks, right? Doing storage facilities, things that are not traditional. There's a lot more fact finding. There's a lot more deal finding. There's a lot more vetting that goes into these. And so this is probably the least passive, although probably the most profitable. So those are the 5. As a real estate investor, my initial purpose is financial freedom. Okay, again, passive income that exceeds my savings, expenses, and taxes. And I have to almost look at this that every time I do a deal, I'm going to get some income from it. And the least passive income sources are going to be the most of my time that go out towards these deals. So let's say I stack up the first deal and it takes, let's say, on a scale of 1 to 10, a 3 on how much of my time it requires. Well, a 3 is not bad, but if it's a 4 or a 5 where it requires that much of my time, every time I add another deal, I have a less and less freedom of my time because every deal requires my time on a 4 out of 5 scale. Right now, if it's a 1 or a 2, I can stack up as many of these deals as I want to because the time involved is minimal, right? Versus if it's like a 10 owner occupying a fourplex, that's a ton of my time. That's a ton of my energy. And I can't scale that fast. And what you'll find is the people who do investing where the time is probably higher than 5 out of 10 that's involved in that deal, they stall out after 3 or 4 deals because they can't manage the back end of it. They can't manage, the people side of it, the construction side of it, the repairs, the maintenance, the finance, the deal finding, right? Versus the people that do like a 1 or a 2 private lending, I can scale really fast because all I have to do is look at the financials on the deal. And as long as it's got good loan to value ratios and it's got good cash flow and the borrower is credit worthy, then I can put as much money as I want to in that deal and scale because it does not take my time. So guys, that's what I have for you today. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. If you've invested in real estate, I'd love to know what your experience has been. If you've not yet invested and you've been thinking about buying real estate and all of a sudden you're not sure and now you've changed your mind, you're like, I might want to be a private lender. I'd love to hear your questions in the comments. If you felt like I missed something or maybe we didn't cover an area enough and you'd like to learn more about that, drop that in the comments as well. And then also be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel here. Turn notifications on so that you get our alerts whenever we launch our next video and you'll get those first thing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Hey, thank you for watching my video today. If you saw this and you wondered, how can Wealth Dynamics, how can Jerry Fetta help me? There are a couple of ways we can do that. Number one, we do a free financial course. We call it Finance Friday. Every single week, Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. You can join that free if you click on the link in the description. Number two, if you would like a 2-week free trial to our online financial university, it's called Wealth Dynamics University. You can get access to that 2-week trial as well by clicking the link in the description. And that's going to give you access to literally hundreds of videos on finance. Third, if you have not gotten a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom, okay, this is a book I wrote last year that goes through the exact steps that I have taken that I got from the top 1% of wealth historically by studying them that have led to me being worth over $2 million and financially free before the age of 30. And then finally, if you would like to get some help, if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I've been seeing maybe a couple of these videos. I've been following Jerry. I've been following Wealth Dynamics. I'm interested in the next step. Reach out to my team, schedule an appointment with us. We can answer all your questions and get you on your blueprint to financial freedom.